now? I think it's 11 o'clock.
Ah, it starts automatically. Okay. Mm. Welcome.
Are we on? Yes or no? Yeah, we're good? Okay, well, we think we're good. If not, we'll figure it out. But this is an instructor training. And so there's just the three of us instructors today. Master Ian is on holiday. He should be back tomorrow. And one of the other instructors, Ophir, is off as well. So just the three of us. I believe we're going to do some weapons training. We're going to look at some routines. We're going to show them off to you. We're going to practice. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Not too much information as far as teaching, but we will be helping each other and trying to do better through each routine. All right, thank you. We're about to start. Okay, line up. And bow. All right, so instructor training, weapons. Did you guys bring down weapons at all? Okay, so maybe go get some weapons. So they're going to go off to the weapon room. Actually, let's take a walk with them. Yeah, let's go check out this weapon room. It might be kind of interesting to see. Yeah, maybe it'll inspire some of you to want to pick up some of these weapons, either learning with us or with someone else. Now, Shaolin weapons, there's quite a few. Roughly about 33 to 36 different routines. So it's quite difficult for any one person to learn all of them. And luckily in modern day we have filming, so you can take a picture. Okay, so here we are going into the weapon room. And as you can see, quite a few weapons. Priska's just picked up the Xuantao. We have a Tantao, a staff, a bunch of staffs in the back, and then our whole collection of different weapons. Some of them come all the way from Singapore, so they're quite old. But honestly, those tend to be the best ones because they were really made to last and made to be used, potentially even in combat. The modern day weapons tend to be much more light. And we also have all the axes and the spears over here. And then we have some straight swords as you come through too. You can see those axes. A couple of those axes are very old and quite heavy because they were oftentimes being used. 100 years ago, these were still being used in Singapore when they would get into fights. Nowadays, for wushu competition and this sort of thing, they use a thinner metal, much lighter. The deity there is General Guan. He's one of the big deities in China, arguably one of the most prayed to deities in China. But as you can see, big collection of weapons. As I was saying, the modern day wushu tend to be a little bit lighter. They use a different metal, which can be a little bit easier to use, but don't build up the strength in the same way and aren't necessarily like swinging a weapon that could actually be used in combat, right? We also have some weapons in the other room, but for now we're going to get back into the training area. As you can see, we have a beautiful sunny day and wonderful surroundings. Snowflake, one of the fun dogs here, one of the two dogs on the property. She looks like she's in the middle of a little bit of a sleep. Or maybe she's just excited to see Kate. Oh, hoping her belly would get rubbed. Because we're in Thailand, it's quite hot, so we're going to go under the cover here. The light isn't as good, but being out of the sun is definitely nice and a relief. How do you guys feel? Do you want to do a little bit of a warm-up first?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, yes.
Yeah, I could use a little bit of a warm-up. I saw Priska stretching. It made me think about it. So now we have our weapons. We're ready to go. We're going to do a little bit of a warm-up just to loosen up the joints. Do either one of you want to lead it? Do you have anything in mind? No? Okay. All right. So I didn't plan for this, but we'll just see how this goes. Let's start first with just turning our head from side to side. Right? Loosening that up. Really trying to get out any of those kinks that might still be there from this morning. And now a little up and down. Like you're telling them, no, I want to keep practicing. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep training. Right? No and yes. Right? I guess this is more of a yes. Yes, I want to keep training. And before it was no. Now let's make a circle. And let's go the other way. Ooh. I can't speak for everyone else, but this is quite challenging for me. I slept a little funny on the bed. All right, and let's rotate the shoulders. First forward. You probably can't hear it on the mic, but there's a lot of crunching going on around here with these shoulders. Priska looks like she's pretty fluid. I think myself and Selena maybe have a little bit more stiff shoulders. And reverse direction. And in and out. And let's grab the hands, loosen up the wrists a little bit. And switch directions. And up and down. And side to side. And shake it all around. Get the hips involved. Right. Let's get some turning in the waist. Right. Just want to loosen up that body so don't get injured. Don't pull anything unnecessarily. All right. And let's go ahead and open up that leg, open up the hip, rotating that knee. And changing direction. And changing leg. And switching directions. All right, the legs out. A little bit wider than shoulder length. And lean to one side, just like Priska's doing. No need to bring the foot up because we're just going to go to the other side. And going back and forth. See if you can get a little lower each time. Doing your best to sink the butt and keep the back up in a more vertical or a more horizontal position. Vertical. My brain's not working. I woke up too early this morning, so hopefully I won't have diarrhea of the mouth all class. And there we go. You guys ready? And go ahead and grab some weapons. We're going to go ahead and practice them. Selena, what are you going to practice today? Let's go.
Tantao and staff. Tantao and staff.
Tantao and staff, okay.
Yeah.
And you have a grading in the staff coming up?
Yeah, it's the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know when your grading is?
No, not yet.
Probably quite a while because you graded.
Right before I left, so 7-8 weeks ago.
Okay, so maybe another month and a half.
Yeah,
All right, we'll see. Always depends on Master Ian, but
Yeah.
yep. And then Priska. Looks like Priska's practicing the straight sword. And I saw her grab the tantao. So we know what weapon she's going to work on. And that's always a nice, beautiful routine. The thing about the straight sword is it's considered in the Shaolin system the most difficult of the weapons. The routine in itself isn't super difficult, but getting the energy through and getting the flow is very difficult. For example, Selena has the tantao, and they say about 100 days of training with the tantao to really get and understand it. And then they say about 1,000 days with the spear. And then they say 10,000 days with the straight sword. And if you do the math, it's about 30 years, right? So it takes a long time to really master it. And back in the day, it was just something that was used really by your generals and people of the royal family and of high standing. The peasants and the common person didn't have a sword, a straight sword. They used more what Selena has right now, which is the tantao, right? Which, if you were watching yesterday, you know can be also a machete or some kind of tool that you would have on the land or in a farm. Something that back in the day just about everyone or every household would have. And it's something rounded, so it's much easier to slice. Where you see the straight sword, just the end, you're just cutting with the end, which is precision. And me, I'm going to be using the 9-ring executioner blade, which I'm sure you'll get a chance to look at some point. And it's a heavier blade, very similar routine between the tantao and the cane. This blade is kind of a combination of the two, but the difference comes in the weight. It'll be quite challenging to move. So you have to get your whole body. And nice work there, Selena. you may want to, very nice, looking good. You may want to put that out a little bit more. It kind of looks like you're almost leaning on it. I don't think you were necessarily, but it kind of has that look because it's a little bit of your chest was over. And ideally, if it can be a little bit in front of the knee, it just has a much better look to it aesthetically instead of back behind the knee. We don't want the too close to the other foot. This is really kind of a demonstration of not necessarily power per se, but kind of like a, right, and if we're really upright, it just has this kind of different look. And it just make all the difference as far as aesthetics concerned. Is it wrong? No. But having it a little bit further away from the body. I would say just so that it's not, your knee isn't past your toes. Yeah. But minor issue. She's looking very good, especially for the first run through.
Yeah, I could feel it. It was a bit rusty. Some movements.
Some movements were a bit rusty. Yeah. That happens, right? We just.
That's why we train.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we train. And we just got done. We just had breakfast not too long ago with a little bit of downtime, so we're just trying to work on it. Right, so as I was mentioning before, this is the 9-ring executioner blade. It's missing a couple rings. It's seen a better day, but it's just a training weapon. So it gets the job done, but it's quite heavy. And unfortunately, I have a damaged finger, so it's a little difficult to hold and move, but I'll do my best to demonstrate the routine here. And you'll notice there's a lot of similarities with the routine that Selena just did. But here, you really have to use your midsection to get the power. You can't just use your arm because of the heavy weight. You're trying to use your whole body a little bit more, right? As you can see, it has a lot of repeating motions, but they're not easy to do with the heavy blade. It's quite demanding on the wrist and the grip. Especially with my injury. And this probably looks familiar. Not my best performance, arguably. Definitely having difficulty gripping. Kind of dislocated my finger doing sticky hands the other day. And it just makes it really hard, especially with the heavy weapon. I might have to move over to a two-handed weapon, because this one's being challenging right now. So this is a fun one. This is a rather unique weapon. The golden coin staff. It's very difficult to find. This is from Singapore. And you can tell because the wood is very strong, sturdy, not very light. It's a very heavy weapon. I'll need to go through the routine maybe once or twice before I feel like I can really demonstrate it. But you're certainly welcome to watch me practice, as well as cluing into some other people's techniques. Right. As you can hear, this one likes to make music. But it has a really nice flow. Now I'm supposed to yell right there, but because the microphone's right near my mouth, I refrained. And that'll get you sweating, that's for sure. Not too bad, a little rusty, but one of my favorite routines. Master Ian designed this routine rather recently, and it has a really beautiful flow. You may not be able to see it because I'm still a student, but I can feel it as the practitioner. It has this nice flow into each move. So I'm going to work on it a little bit more because it's taking the relief off my finger. And here you have both Selena and Priska working on the Tantao. And then you'll have this wonderful music. Again, this is the Tantao, Priska doing the Tantao. Which is one of the first weapons you learn here. But you don't grade on it until level 7. It just shows how challenging and difficult it can be to really get the power through. As you learn it within your first couple of months, but you're really not going to grade on it until probably a year into training. And that's if you're here for a year, which we welcome you to join. We'd love to have you, right? It'd be great if you were here, practicing with us, sweating with us, hopefully smiling with us, right? Because we enjoy this. But you can just get that idea. You're going to learn it in the first couple of months, but it takes 100 days to really get good at it, efficient, to get that power through. And about a year until you're going to grade on it. You grade on the number 7th Tiger Crane, then you'll also grade with a weapon. Now Selena, she's on Chop Sar Tai Por, which is the 4th grading, And for that one, you have to grade with the staff. And you may not be able to tell online there, but the staff is heavy and quite thick. And getting the vibration through is quite difficult. You have to really not worry, but you have to really concentrate and really get your technique down. How you feeling about that one, Selena?
So.
So with that one.
First
Okay.
round.
First round. Yeah.
To warm up.
Yeah. Try going a little slower. Not necessarily when you want to demonstrate, but just to really,
Training.
yeah, for training, really focus on getting the power coming up through the back leg and trying to get that vibration into it as best you can. I know that's a tough one. That's a tough one because it's a thicker staff. We train on these kind of thicker or thinner ones, and it's quite gratifying because you can get it to really vibrate. And then when you upgrade and move on to these other ones, you're like, ooh, okay, that's the real deal. Not just a thin piece of wood, but actually a real staff. And then it's next level. If you hear Master Ian, he makes it snap. That's where we're trying to get to, right? Also, when you go down to the ground, just don't let it drop. Actually, give it some attention, give it some focus. Yeah, when you're doing the 4 points, and maybe you're just kind of going through it to kind of get the muscle memory. So I'm not trying to be too critical or anything, but as you, right, you can almost use that hand to push down, not just to drop. Yeah, I would say turn your hand over and push down with the hand. Because if you're pushing down with the thumb, we can lose the grip. So we actually want our hand over it. The other way, yeah. So when you push down, that way if there's any kind of resistance, it's going right back into your hand and you're gonna have a lot more control. Where, let's say you hit something, and it's just the thumb. If your hand's sweaty or anything like this, it would slide off. Kind of the same idea for when we're turning like this, trying to get that hand behind it. Yeah. Just some pointers that might be helpful. She probably already knows it. I'm just being redundant, but hopefully it's helpful. Yeah. Priska's working on the cane right now, which is called the Xuanyang cane because it has some similarities to the Xuanyang. And you learn it after learning the 66 move Xuanyang, which is a slow moving martial art, which has a lot of health benefits similar to Tai Chi in the fact that it's a slow moving Kung Fu or slow moving martial art where you're getting the energy through, teaching your body how to move the energy through so that when you do it in the Tiger Crane, you have an understanding and can move the energy through. And as you advance up into the Tiger Crane, you actually start implementing many of the moves that are in Xuanyang. And you can see that her opening here, very similar to the Xuanyang. Same kind of idea. There's a slow movement. And here we really want that energy to come from the core, not just from our arm. And as you can see, Priska has nice movement in her wrist there. She can get a nice flow going. Especially in that last maneuver there. As you can see, it's not a super long routine or anything. Maybe we can check in with her. How was that routine for you?
It's really look like the straight sword.
Yeah,
My muscle memory just changed the routine sometimes.
yeah, it's very easy to get it confused.
Yeah, usually we don't practice the cane that much in weapons. We practice the canes mainly in the morning. But when we learn the straight sword, there few moves get confused, and so at one point it was needed. And I could do it again. Like, I saw it. I'm sure you saw it too. Like when I turn around, I did the like that, like the straight sword.
Actually, I missed it, but
So we need to, and I feel like it has the same vibe also, same movement, straight. So training the same in the same time. Those two at the same time is nice.
yeah, trying to get that through. Yeah, you have very nice flow there. It looked good. There's a couple spots where maybe you can improve. Trying to engage more the energy from your core and not just your arm. Trying to really get it to come out from the dantian. So when pretty much with all the strikes. So in the beginning you had it came out quite nice with your overhead, right? This was good. Even when you came across, it was good. But then from here, it was a lot of just arm. There's a lot of arm movement, but we want to get the energy actually coming from here, and the arm is kind of just following. And then the energy will transfer. And then you don't need to open up the wrist as much. I know before we were telling you to open it up more, but now I think you're opening it up a little too much, because now it's kind of dissipating in that wrist instead of just flowing through to the end of the tip. I can kind of see the energy stopping. The wrist is opening, but it's kind of stopping in the hand and not really transferring all the way to the cane. Not in all the moves, just in a couple of the moves. Your first side sequence was really nice. The second side sequence, I probably jinxed it because I talked about how open her wrists were and how fluid she was. This move, when you come through here, it really kind of stops right there. It doesn't extend all the way through, so you don't really want to release it all the way through over here. You kind of keep it in front, if you know what I'm talking about. Right here, right? Actually, I think your foot would be like this. And I can't quite tell. Sometimes in the straight sword I see this as well. You make it look very, very beautiful when you're coming forward. But sometimes it looks like the energy actually gets stuck here in your back because you have such an arch. So you're going to be able to tell better than I can because it's your own physical, but it kind of looks like the energy's doing that, and so it's getting stuck in your lower back instead of actually propelling the energy forward. So I would watch that because it's very impressive, the kind of arc you can get. It looks amazing and beautiful. I'm just not sure the energy is being transferred in the best way possible. Because of the way the leg is kicking up so high, it looks like it just gets stuck in the back. It looks like the majority of the energy is happening from there, and this is helping that instead of the condension there putting the energy to the end, right? And you can kind of see when we get the shake, that's what we're looking for. So just a couple of things to work on, but looking very good, smooth. And I wish my wrists were as nimble as hers because her figure eight is very nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite hot.
The tricky thing is you can't really base your thing on the shake because it shakes anyway. Like if I'm straight or if I'm not straight, it just shakes.
Yeah, I wasn't basing it off that. I was just showing the energy transfer to the camera. That's not what I was
So the
doing.
energy transfer even if you don't bend or not. Because it's
Yeah. I wasn't really comparing it to that. I was just showing what it looks like when you get energy to the end. That's all I was doing there.
not that we were talking about the fact that the energy stays stuck in my back.
Yeah, you can still get it to shake even though the energy gets stuck in your back. That's the point that you're making.
Yeah. So I was wondering if it's just working both ways.
No, if the energy is getting stuck in your back, the energy is not going forward. That's the difference.
So just vibrate anyway.
Yeah, it can vibrate either way. I mean, it's some of these blades. All you got to do is stick your arm out, and it's going to vibrate. Yeah. Like that's not always, like you're saying, that's not always the key indication. But you want the energy to travel through the blade, not getting stuck here by bending too much. And from my observation, this is something that I've noticed, is that it looks very similar to, instead of driving the energy forward, the energy can come up, right? So if I'm going, that energy is going up. Yeah, I can still get the blade to move, but the energy is not going forward, it's going up, and it's staying right here. The energy's that way, not that way. It's coming out this way to a certain degree because we're moving our limbs in that direction, but the energy isn't moving that way solely, which is what we want. We want primarily the energy going in the direction of the blade. You should be able to notice a difference in the vibration.
Yeah, I don't. That's why
Yeah, so it's something to work on.
I can feel my wrist from self-defense yesterday making over.
Yeah, you guys went at it hard yesterday.
Yeah.
I can see the bruises.
Yeah. I can feel it every time I'm like,
Having a tight wrist is no good for this one. You can tell I haven't put in 10,000 days, that's for sure. This is a relatively new practice for me, and it shows. Pretty stiff, struggling to get the energy through. Very nice, very nice. There was one thing I wanted to mention before, but I noticed you're getting a lot more core movement in that one. Very nice, very nice. When you're coming down, coming up, that shoulder stays cocked.
Yeah.
So when you come in,
Just push forward.
there's a lot more shoulder movement. Yeah. I was just kind of seeing this. The shoulders were pretty, but you can get this push through that back leg and really get that shoulder movement. Yeah. Minor little details, but
I wasn't aware of that.
yeah, it's yeah, so that shoulder stays kind of cocked. And so the movement, it's almost this little side jump, and then as you straighten out, the power comes through. Oh, yeah, let's all do the cane, huh? It's quite hot out today. Sun's blaring. It has started the rainy season, but we're not fully into the raining every day, all day, thankfully. Although it rarely rains all day. Oftentimes it just rains at night. How's your cane coming along, Selena?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any questions?
No.
No, okay. That makes my job easy
Yeah. Maybe too many.
and maybe more difficult, right? But yeah, put in some practice, get some time. See, it's been a while since I've done my cane, so it's a good thing to practice. This is where I get us confused with the straight sword as well. Sorry there, camera. Almost hit you. That was okay. That was all right. That's all right. Decent movement for the core. Obviously, I need to make sure that I am separating the routines. There's no good going in to the cane and start in the middle of the cane doing the straight sword. So I have to keep those separated, right? This is part of the issue when you start learning many, many routines, and there's only so many ways to swing a weapon. So you have these similar movements that come through. You just need to make sure keeping them straight, right? I'll definitely go through another run there. Selena's also practicing with a huge smile. That's okay. It's okay, I was pretty much done anyways. That was the end of the routine. It's always good to train that wrist. All right, try to get that energy moving from the core and then just come through. If we're doing it strictly from the wrist, we're missing the point. We want to get that energy through the whole body, transferring it to the wrist, using that other hand to kind of move it along. A little easier to use this with my busted up finger. But I think it's time to go back to the straight sword. Yeah. Yeah, please.
When you go the third one here before you come here,
Yeah.
do you really like stop or do you go straight into it? Take the momentum and go.
It's somewhere in the middle. So you don't want to stop it, right? That's not right. Yeah. So there is there,
Yeah.
and then, so we don't come all the way through, but you definitely don't, you don't stop it there. And you don't want to stop the energy. But I remember Master Ian telling me, because I had a tendency
I think me too, yeah.
to do that, and he said, try to get a little bit more of like a strike.
And then bring it in position to do the next one.
Yeah.
Take the momentum and then.
Yeah, so you're still getting that momentum. I'm not just going, but when you did it, it felt like, did you step across?
I don't know, I have to do it.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
I would say for me, yeah, it comes through, and then as the wrists kind of turn over, I don't know if you could see that. So the wrist turned over about right there.
Yeah.
So I'm stopping putting the force in there. And now that's kind of carrying my leg, everything forward, and then I can get the twist. The key to this one, although this is pretty thin, so it's a little easy,
Yeah.
is see if you can get that, I don't know if you can hear it, but that kind of whooshing sound without really using your shoulder to gather the strength. So like, I can do this and make the whooshing sound all day. But can I do that? That's core movement, right? This is arm movement. So we want to be able to get the core and have the whole body move as one unit, because you're going to get a lot more power through, a lot more energy through if it's one unit, right? Instead of, anyone can get it through with the arm. That's not hard. These aren't heavy, right? So people get caught up in just getting stuck on that arm. But even here, right, you want to get that. I can just go like a baseball swing, but it's so much better if you can get that core and the leg. Here's a really good example, because we even want to reach out. This is a long reach here. Yeah, it's a long reach. Your left foot should be in front. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah,
So we're
yeah,
here,
yeah.
and you jump out, and here you can get that. You can get that kind of, as Master Ian was telling me, jump out, get the flick of the wrist, defend it. But here, we really want to extend, putting that weight in the front, using the whole core. And then that gets that kind of, so it's not just a, right? This is arm. This is whole body. Really, and I'm using that springy power element, right, coming through. And then same here. People will kind of just do this. Again, that's all shoulder. Step through, really turn the waist. Not saying you weren't doing it. I'm just saying what we want to do.
Yeah.
Although I think now we want to take a break. It's now 12 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully this was entertaining for you, somewhat educational. You got to see some of the weapons that we're using. A lot of the single weapons that we're dealing with, the cane, single hand, cane, tantao, straight sword, the executioner blade as well. And sorry I couldn't bring that more, but it's very difficult with this knuckle being busted up. And then you got to see the golden coin staff, which is very, very unique. Thank you for joining us. Come back in this afternoon. Priska, one of the fan favorites, will be teaching, I believe, some fighting application, and then also doing a stretch. Thank you so much. We're going to close out now. And bow. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy lunch or whatever's next.
Thank you.